Why did State House stop William Samoei Ruto from traveling to the United States of America and Canada? And why would President Uhuru Kenyatta allow his handlers to sabotage his deputy? Today, I want us to look at this visit by the deputy president, which was supposed to happen on Monday, but was scuttled. But before we do that, kindly remember to subscribe. A few weeks ago, Deputy President William Ruto's handlers announced that the Deputy President was scheduled to visit the United States of America and later on proceed to Canada for a series of meetings and talks. And yesterday was the D-Day. The Deputy President was scheduled to leave the country for the United States of America. And everything was set. But he was stopped from going to the United States and Canada by the handlers of President Uhuru Kenyatta. The question then is, why was the Deputy President blocked from going to the United States of America? What really happened? Because from the look of things, from the onset, this visit was significant to the Deputy President. From the way his handlers popularized or publicized the whole thing. So before we look at the reasons why probably this event was cancelled, why do you think the Deputy President was taking this United States of America visit seriously? In my view, the Deputy President was taking the United States and Canada visit seriously because it was going to help him achieve a lot of political objectives. Number one, it was going to help the Deputy President to rebrand. If you look at all the presidential candidates, it's only the Deputy President who doesn't have international connections. Talk of Kalonzo Musyoka, a respected diplomat. Talk of even Musalia Mudavadi. Talk of President Uhuru Kenyatta. As a matter of fact, Uhuru Kenyatta was elected the president because the British and Americans said yes. Raila Odinga is one of the most connected well-connected individual in this country internationally. William Ruto likes that. So this visit was going to help him rebrand. Number two, it was going to help the deputy president create what I call the diaspora network. You see, anytime a Kenyan, a senior government official, someone like the deputy president, goes to, let's say, the United States, and meetings are organized, it is through those visits where the deputy president meets who is who in those countries. And this network will always be handy during the campaigns when now you need to raise funds. So it was going to help the deputy president achieve that. Number three is the diaspora votes. You know, the diaspora, the Kenyans in diaspora will vote in the next general election. And this is the time to start mobilizing. So this visit was going to help the deputy president start mobilizing or putting his case to these individuals. Number four is what I call perceptual value. The moment the deputy president will go to the United States and gives a talk, then proceed to Canada and give a talk there. The other time he was in US and previously was in Italy. Then people will start, it's easier for his team to craft a propaganda that the deputy president is actually accepted by international community, something which has been lacking. If you look at the deputy president history, apart from going to Uganda easily, going to South Sudan easily, and probably going to Sudan, where the former president was his personal friend, it's very rare to see the deputy president moving around other countries. So it was going to help them create that perception that the world has now started receiving the deputy president. And lastly, it was going to be a propaganda tool. Why am I saying this? Raila Odinga is known to be a socialist. And the Western, like the United States and let's say the British, who are capitalists, they don't like Raila Odinga. Those are according to the propaganda. So by William Ruto now starting to go to these regions, he was going, I mean, these guys were going to craft a propaganda that the deputy president is now acceptable to these people. But now that visit will not happen. So the question then is, why would the president stop his deputy from going to the United States of America? They've given reasons. The deputy president communications guy, David Munyori, actually gave a reason. And according to him, President Uhuru Kenyatta is supposed to go to South Africa on Friday. The president, Cyril Ramaphosa, is actually going to take off of office. So the president is supposed to go to that event. And then from there, the president is supposed to go to Canada for some very small event. And they're saying that because the president is going to South Africa and later on proceeding to Canada, the deputy president must remain because both the two individuals cannot leave the country together. I find that as a lame excuse. It's not the first time the deputy president and the president have actually left the country together. But even if that was the case, then do you want to tell me that the president and all the deputy president handlers did not know that Jacob Zuma was elected and the swearing in was supposed to happen? Do you want to tell me that even the deputy president, when he was organizing these events, he didn't know the president's diary? And what message is that kind of misinformation or this kind of act portrayed to Kenyans? Now let's go into now the main issue. Why do you think the deputy president or the president Uhuru Kenyatta and his handlers at State House stopped this event? Because there's no any other word to sugarcoat this whole thing. The deputy president was stopped, or his trip was cancelled by State House authority. Why would they do this? 3 or 4 reasons only. Number one, I strongly think or believe that the deputy president handlers organized this event without consulting State House or the presidency. Because how would you explain the clash of the diaries of the two individuals? It takes time for the deputy president to reach out to whoever is reaching out to organize the event and synchronize those dates and the timings. It also takes time for the president to actually organize his events. Like that event in Canada, it's not a Kenyan event. That event, it was organized long ago, and probably these guys had actually reached out to the president, invited him to attend, and the president had to accept that he was going to attend. So these things, they don't just, it's not like you want to go to Sondo market from my village in Nyakach. You just wake up and go to Sondo and probably buy mahindi here, buy whatever there. No, this is not like that. These events are planned well in advance. So I strongly believe the people who are organizing this event on behalf of William Samoei Ruto did not consult State House. So after they had finalized, State House now said, okay, let's wait and see. We want to see who is the boss. The alternative would have been, let the president go to South Africa, William Ruto postpone his trip by 1 or 2 days, or by a week, or then the deputy president can now go to Canada, start with Canada, and after the Canada is done, then he can now come to the United States. So I strongly believe these guys did not consult. That's number one. Number two, I want to believe that the people around President Uhuru Kenyatta or the people at State House or the presidency believe that this visit to United States of America and to Canada were just extension of Team Tanga Tanga tours. Remember, the president has pronounced himself on the issue of early campaigns, and he has said he doesn't want to see people campaigning. And in their view, they thought the deputy president was going to campaign in the United States of America and in Canada. Remember, we have Kenyans who are in the diaspora there and who are going to vote in 2022. And because they don't want these early campaigns, and the president has made it clear, so the best thing, stop this man from making that trip. No any other thing can explain. Number 3, I think this is all about the presidency, Harambee House Annex, and State House war. There's a serious war currently ongoing between Harambee House Annex, that is William Ruto, and the presidency, that is State House, and people around the president at Harambee House. So those are facts. There's serious wars. So probably this is just an extension of that war. Remember, just this week, it was reported that the deputy president actually confronted Karanja Kibichu when they went to receive the president at the airport. And it's also reported that William Ruto's allies are planning to impeach Fred Okengo Matiang'i from office. And these are the guys who are controlling the presidency. As State House, the deputy president doesn't have reliable individuals there. All his allies were kicked out. So these guys are now fighting him. So they're saying the deputy has faked his event. He's going to Canada, he's going to the US, and he has not briefed us. So the best thing, let's stop this event so that we can see, or we can tell him who controls power in this country. Number 4 is something which people are talking in low tones. The grand scheme by President Uhuru Kenyatta, the presidency and State House to stop William Samoei Ruto from rising or from taking over from Uhuru Kenyatta in 2022. And that's the truth. So these guys are actually planning to ensure they stop the deputy president. And how do they do it? Ensuring that they actually interfere with his programs. Remember, it is reported that one of foreign officials at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who facilitated these trips has already been fired. So these are just the grand schemes to slow down the deputy president. And lastly, I think these guys are just provoking him to see how he is reacting. Amongst Kenyans, there's this talk that the deputy president is vengeful. And if what happened to Karanja Kibicho is true at the airport, then it confirms that the deputy president is vengeful. And also, just recently, the deputy president allies have been recorded saying they want to impeach Fred Matiang'i. Why? Because Matiang'i is now the supervisor of all cabinet ministries. So in my view, those are the 5 main reasons why the presidency or people at State House or President Uhuru Kenyatta decided to ensure that the trip by the deputy president to the United States is scuttled. And in this visit, in this trip, the deputy president had actually placed an elaborate plan, according to sources. He had planned to meet the Kalenjins in the United States of America. All Kalenjins working in the United States of America, they were supposed to meet. The deputy president, while in Canada, was supposed to meet with NRM leader Miguna. Remember, Miguna has been one of key William Ruto's allies from the time he broke with Raila Odinga. I think when Raila Odinga was still the prime minister. And it is alleged even the books which he published were actually bankrolled by his friend, partly. And now all these things, the elaborate plans they had, now no more. I don't know what you think. Why do you think the president or the presidency stopped this event from happening? I want to listen to your views on this. And to those who are bumping on this video for the first time, I want to ask you to do one thing. Hit the subscribe button and then the bell button, so that anytime we produce a video, you can always be notified. Because I know for sure on this channel, you'll always find something useful. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. I don't just have words to express myself on how I can thank you guys, but know that I'm very grateful for the support you've given this channel so far.